I am just magnanimously granting you a little more time to talk as we wait for Carolyn. We don't, well, that's okay. We don't actually have any voting items tonight, so if we don't have quorum, we'll just proceed as an information session and we won't approve the agenda or the minutes because those are the only voting items. So I was just going to give us like 2 more minutes here. All right, we do have a quorum now, so I'm going to go ahead and call this meeting of the Facilities Committee of the Champaign County Board to order at 6:34 p.m. If I could get a roll call, please.
Wiggs,
Here.
Wilson, Crane, Furtado, Greer,
Here.
Hanauer Friedman,
Here.
Vanish Theranot, Lokshin.
Here. All right, if I could get a motion to approve the agenda for tonight's meeting. Moved by Greer, second by Wiggs. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay, a motion to approve the minutes from the May 6, 2025 meeting. Motion by Hanauer Friedman, second by Wiggs. All in favor? Any opposed? Do we have any public input for tonight's meeting? I don't have any slips. Looks like we're all good. Moving on to board communications. Does anyone have any communications to share today? Okay. New business, we'll get an update on ITB 2025-006, the Champaign County Pope Jail Roof Replacement Project.
The bid's actually going pretty well. We met with them this past week. Had, I think, 3, if not 4 vendors show up, but it was not a mandatory walkthrough. So hopefully we get a pretty competitive bid. That said, the bid opening is set for June 12th, and since we do not have a July meeting, I'll probably send my suggestion, or after we open to the public, I'll probably send it over to the chair and send it off to the full board for review. So.
Stephanie?
Does replacing the roof impact operations within the jail at all?
Hopefully not. Actually, we had the discussion during the walkthrough where we might just, instead of going through the secure space because they had to check in tools every single time, we're going to work with them and just try to make them access from the outside so they don't have to disrupt operation.
Any other questions, comments? No, I think sending to the full board in July works since we're not meeting next month. It's perfect for me. All right, moving on, update to ITB 2023-005, the Bennett Administrative Center Elevator Renovation Project.
There's not a whole lot to say. It's more of a placeholder. This one's pretty well finishing up. We've actually canceled recent meetings with the architect and with Otis. The only final outstanding items is the final punch list, which they've reviewed with Otis's contact. I don't know why that word's eluding me. But they do have the final punch list set out. It's just a lot of minor things. The big thing is the floor replacement, but we're actually postponing that as long as possible because we're moving, just to delay them from damaging it.
Any questions on this one? I did take the tour last week, the week before, I can't remember, rode on the elevators. It was very fulfilling to be able to see them in operation. So thank you for all the work that you've done to keep that moving along. Next up, we have the item C, Brookins Administration Building, update and potential additional staffing. Just an informational piece too.
So there's ongoing talks with various groups because obviously we were going to have a vacant building after everybody moves. RPC has a huge need still. for as long as, for the foreseeable future, probably. I don't want to put a timeline on that. So we don't want to disrupt them or any other county entity that's in Brookings. That said, these external groups, they're showing interest. There's down to basically we're one of two options. And if they did choose to come here, obviously our mentality is we're trying to break even, no additional cost. We're not inputting anything. And that's been expressed to them over and over. So that means they're covering the capital in a way. We just got to figure out what that looks like. But what that means is there will be potential additional staff. If they do sign on, obviously that's another 80,000 some square foot building that we need to, clean and maintain. So I'm just more or less giving you fair warning that may be coming down the pipeline.
Stephanie?
So my strong opinion is this building only stays open if it breaks even on everything, including those additional staff. Like, I hear what you're saying. There's no universe in which we can afford that. So I think when we're talking to them, like, you want to stay here? We come away clean, like clean, or we're out of the Brookings business. That has to be, right? I don't see, we can't have another 80,000 foot building that we're responsible for in any way. I don't think that's fair to you. And that's not what when we bought Bennett, that, you know what I'm saying? So that's my strong opinion. That'll be a problem for another board. I won't be on the board anymore, but my very strong opinion is that.
Daniel?
I was going to say something very similar, but I was also going to include the maintenance of the building being built into their lease and their cost.
Yeah.
The mechanical full maintenance being their responsibility as tenants.
So do you want to say something first? Just to shed light on both those topics. So during the discussions, it's RPC's lease is set up similarly. So what we do is we invoice them for their portion of janitorial for the year, and then if anything extensive for maintenance, we can invoice them as well. Now, we're mimicking that. We don't know what it looks like, and we've been pretty transparent with them that, like you said, we cannot afford it. There's just no ifs, ands, or buts about it. So they're fully aware. So we're going to bake that into the cost and we're going to show it to them. This is our operating cost to have X amount of staff, whatever that looks like, and that's it. So as for the maintenance, I got to figure out how to work that, and it's going to be negotiating. But the general maintenance, the PMs, the stuff like that, the small stuff, that's going to be part of that baked in cost. Anything capital or additional, the thought is initially to set up, basically they overpay, we put it into a pool, and that's how we're going to manage their capital and breakdowns. So they're fine with that on the initial talks, but this has not been fully ironed out. And just to put minds at ease, we've been very transparent with them that if we cannot break even, we're just walking away. So,
Ellie?
So is it really primarily RPC that is sort of keeping us in this building? Like if they found somewhere else to go, then there would be no need to keep it.
currently, yes. There is still one county, the auditor,
Right.
potentially will stay. I don't know what that looks like, but yes, RPC till at least through next year is when their lease is. Now, obviously, we're not going to do anything to disrupt them, but yeah, they have a growing need actually to take more space because of all the other locations that they house. So they're actually asking to take on additional space
In Brookings.
in this space, yeah, in Brookings.
So they're not looking elsewhere.
They're still looking,
Okay.
but I think this is one of the few options they have right now.
Chair,
Yes, Mr. Summers.
I know at some point they would like to have a different facility, but the last words that I heard from Dr. Silamoyo was, we are staying at Brookings. And I'm sure a lot of that has to do with uncertainty with the grant landscape right now. I know no one on the board wants to disrupt RPC's work. Eric is completely right. They are talking about taking on a significant amount of additional space by moving some of their programs into this building, which will help us to some degree. But yeah, the goal is to get out of this building when we're able to. But RPC is the anchor that's holding us right now. Thank you.
I don't know if this is a facilities question or an executive question, and just because we just received the auditor's email a little bit before this meeting, but what additional costs will we incur with him staying in the building? What additional maintenance or staff would be needed with us maintaining an office in the building?
That's a hard discussion to explain to people. You can shut down areas of a building, but it doesn't shut a building down. So if we're talking he only takes over a small area of a pod, essentially you got to consider that entire pod you have to maintain, if not the entire building. So if there's one person in here or 100, we have to maintain it to some degree. It's a tough line to draw in the sand.
Yes, thank you. Any other questions, comments? Okay. Moving on, the Ilias Old Nursing Home building tear down. Eric, update on that.
We're moving forward. We're actually working with Highway on this one. Jeff Blue's been great to work with so far. So Bailey Edwards, we've come to an agreement basically, and they've put forward their bid documents for the A&E, the architectural engineering. So they're going to basically do the whole entire scope of the project for us. I just got that ironically today or yesterday, and I shared it with Jeff. So we're going to try to move forward with that and hopefully get that out to bid. The tentative date is hopefully to go out for bid this fall and then start the work potentially in spring, depending on how the bids come back.
And this one is moving forward with Bailey Edwards because they are our contracted architect at this point. We're not. That's correct.
Yeah, correct. And we have Rife Stick as well, and they just did the roof project, so I just alternated to be fair.
Thank you. Just want to make sure that was clear. Any questions on this one? I know it's something you had budgeted for in 2026, so glad to see it moving forward. I know former member Dr. Storr will also be glad to see it moving forward. Moving on to the facilities department, going to a new CMMS. Update on that, please.
This is more just a general knowledge. We're trying to, CMMS is a corrective maintenance management software. It's what we use to issue work orders to staff, manage our workloads, asset inventory, manage your assets appropriately, PM schedule, stuff like that. So we were previously on Facility Tree and it treated us fine. But with the newer software options that are out there, we made the decision to go with Maintain X. Budgetarily, it was within I think $1,000 difference. So it was really a minor adjustment. We've gone through the migration process. We're hopefully going to finish out the PMs this week, and people are still getting used to it. So that's not to ask them how it's going right now.
Well, with that within your budget, I appreciate you letting us know, but of course it's your purview how you choose to run your office. So thank you for that. I hope it ends up being a smooth transition and makes things easier for your staff. Moving on. Oh, unless anybody had any questions on that, sorry. Okay, energy supply discussion.
This is a big one. Actually, Dana started this one before he retired, and they reached out again to me. So he kind of had the ball rolling. But Tradition Energy, I don't know how they've gotten in contact, but they've reached out and they put the numbers together for us. The idea is basically we'd run our energy services. They'd go out for bid for us, get it on the market, if anybody's familiar with this. They'd come back with the lowest bidder, do all the legwork for us, and they just take a percentage of the savings. All that said, right now, we're not in one of those contracts, so we do not have a flat set energy rate. We're paying market value, which will fluctuate. It'll fluctuate lower in the winter and spike in the summer. So that said, I actually just got the numbers about an hour ago. I was hoping to actually put it in here just for comparative for everybody. Our last year, we ranged anywhere between 9 cents and almost 14 cents. So that was the range that we had for the entire year for the all county buildings. Their options that they've just sent me could lower that to as low as 5.7 cents. So it's 35% savings potentially. They've have various options. It's something that we just have to negotiate. It depends on whether you sign on for a year, 2 years, 5 years, I think is the max, and how we structure it. But that savings would range anywhere from 31 to 35%.
Questions? Ellie?
Can you put that into a dollar amount for us, perhaps?
We spent roughly over $800,000 last year in energy, so 35% of that.
Stephanie?
You are the only person, I don't know, in the last 7 years that has told me that something's cheaper, so thank you.
And is that the prices you're quoting, is that the per kilowatt hour? Okay, that is, yes, per kilowatt hour. So yes, 800,000 would be the overall. Got it. Any other questions, comments on that? Okay, moving on, door access discussion for all county buildings.
I know on the ARPA funding, and I don't want to open it up, I'm more or less just explaining my thought on this. We've gone through and upgraded the door access to everything for Bennett. We're trying to grab as many county buildings that we can to consolidate systems. So what that means is like we have different camera systems for each building. We have different door access systems for each, but even some of them have different fire panels, for crying out loud. So it's just various things like that. So it's just from a maintenance standpoint, and from a contract, if you're going to do a service contract standpoint, it makes a lot of sense just to consolidate across the board. It's easier to manage. That said, we went out and F.E. Moran did the install for Bennett. They came back and gave me a quote, a verbal. I asked for budgetary because I knew it was going to be too high. So they just gave me a ballpark figure to do the courthouse. I'd like to do the courthouse with ARPA funding is what I'm saying. It's going to be below 50 is what they quoted me. So that said, I just know that the ARPA funding for the items, it's on there, but it's item, I think, 13. Yeah, and we've only approved 6 of them. But I'm probably going to move forward with that and try to grab the coroner's office at the same time because that quote actually came in very reasonable. So.
Oh, sorry, Daniel?
So this shows 200,000 on 13, but you're saying they verbally quoted ballpark 50?
Yeah, they actually broke out material and labor, and I combined them but yes, and that was for if we chose
just the courthouse.
Just the courthouse.
Turn your microphone on. Sorry.
And the 200,000 would have been for all.
Correct.
Ballpark.
Stephanie?
Is there a reason not just to do it all? If we think it's best to just do it all?
So that's a great question, but the issue we run into is JDC and the jail, they need master control functionality, and they just upgraded. Well, the jail did. JDC's but I'm actually working with Shannon on that, and hopefully we find a solution if we can find funding. But long story short, those two would be separate. These systems are for like office doors, hallway doors, and when we go to the courthouse, they have some cells in the lower level. We're not going to include those. It's just all the office. Actually, it would make a lot of sense for the courthouse from a management because we have a gate that's on one system, the new one, and then all the other doors are on another system. So we have to put every employee into 2 systems and then manage them accordingly. So.
Is that the parking gate outside is on the same system as Bennett? Okay. Ellie?
So are you thinking you would do everything except the jail and JDC? And that should come in under 200?
The only one I haven't priced is Elias because they have a functioning system. And that would be the final one, unless I'm forgetting something, that has door access currently that we would not have migrated over. So yes, between the corners and the courthouse, I think I can spend 60 and get both those up on the system. We manage them from one department instead of 5. So
Stephanie?
If we do that, does that bump any of the other stuff, or are we still within range?
we're within range. I don't want to spend anything heavy until we get through the roof project because I don't know what that's going to come in after bids. But yeah, as of now, I feel confident with staying in the 50 range. We're fine.
Any other questions on that? I think it sounds like an excellent strategic use of the ARPA funding. All right. That is all of our business that was on the agenda tonight. I have no other business. No presiding officers report. Our next meeting is August 5th, 2025 at 6:30. Again, no meeting in July. We have nothing to go on the consent agenda, and we are adjourned at 6:54.